Hi, my name's CP and welcome to Bespoke Unit. In this video, we're interviewing Henke Kelner of Davidoff Cigars.
My name is Henke Kelner. Normal people name me Henke, but I think the more frequent name for me, especially in the factory, is engineer. I born in Dominican Republic. My father come from Holland. My mother Dominican. I'm student industrial engineer in Mexico, Monterrey. But my real passion was the tobacco.
Yeah.
I born in tobacco. My family is tobacco. We have many activities in my life, in the industry of tobacco and many other associations. President of many different associations, and especially Pro Cigars. I founded Pro Cigars 27 years ago, and that 27 years I was the president. 27 years.
People who don't know who are watching, could you tell us what Pro Cigars is?
Pro Cigars is an association of the manufacturer of premium cigars in Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
We founded in 1982. Only with 6 factories, but now we have 11 members, active members. All produce good cigars, handmade, premium, and special people that have some ethics and proud in business. But in addition to that, Pro Cigar have another 22 members.
Wow.
It's all the people or the industry that are involved in the cigar business. That means manufacturers of ring, labels, boxes, processing tobacco, machine made cigars, bobine. It's a complete cluster, and included the Tobacco Institute. Is organization is like a department, but independent.
Right.
I was member from the Tobacco Institute for years and years and years. Represent Pro Cigar.
And to put this into context, when did you first start working in tobacco? Because you studied to become an engineer in Mexico, and then what year was it when you returned in tobacco?
The reason that I studied is because my family worked in tobacco. My father and 3 brothers, very young, worked in tobacco in Holland. And 2 brothers, my father and the oldest brother, come to Dominican Republic. Another 2 to Brazil for work to tobacco. Later, my cousin, very young, 19 years old, 18 years old, go to the warehouse to work in tobacco. My cousin, 2 cousins in Dominican Republic, another in Brazil, Paraguay, and Indonesia. And finally, we have 7 different companies, and the family compete for the same market. Of course, that create problem, no?
Yeah.
And family problem. And my father advised me, you need to broken the tradition of the family. I prefer you study. When my father died very young, 48 years, I have only 70 years. I followed the advice of my father. I studied industrial engineering. That I come back to Dominican Republic. My idea was look for a job not in tobacco. But it's a large history. But always I think I have a job, something happened. And finally, the president of the bigger company, of cigarette company in the Dominican Republic, so was a friend of my father. He was interested in ABC. I can say no for the relation with the father, but they forced me to work in that industry. It's the bigger cigarette manufacturer. They at that time have a small cigar factory, but very soon they closed it down. And that industry, in 8 years, I was the general manager of the company, only with 31 years old. And I decided to reopen the cigar factory. And at that moment, my passion for cigars my passion for cigars. It's not too important in the big company, that cigar, but for me, it's a question of the passion. Immediately, I take the passion of cigars. And later, I decide to make independent, and create a small factory. Very small. I don't have money for more. Only with 6 rollers. My idea was create a factory to produce the best cigars. And I decided not make my brand. No lose money, no lose time in the market. Only private label. And all my dedication, all my time was to create a vertical integrated company. My passion was the product. And in a few years, in 5 years, we produced 2.7 million cigars.
Wow.
In 6 years. The first year, I produced less than 900,000. And in 5 years, 2.7 million. And that time, the market was established, not growing. USA basically is only 90 million cigars, import, handmade. And one of my, in the beginning, my partners, I looked at many partners, was Bernard Grobet. I have a relation with Bernard Grobet, the owner of the Griffin Club. He liked that I make a cigar for his club. It was a famous club in Geneva. In the beginning, only for Switzerland sell the cigars. Later to USA and another country of Europe. That was really my first cigar that I made. Because in the factory that I create for the tabacalera, I can dedicate too much time. The most important was the cigarette business. I participated in the blend of the cigar that we made. But for me, the first cigar was Griffin. Griffin for Bernard Grobet. 1986, I meet Avo, made Avo. I create the Ashton, the first Ashton with Robert Levine. I created the Ashton, at that time was less. And another cigars from including bundles. And In 1988, I have the firm contact with Dr. Schneider. Dr. Schneider, the owner of Davidoff, decided to leave from Cuba. At that time, they don't have many options. At that time, in 1988, only Dominican Republic have an image, produce a good name of cigars, good brand. The rest, Nicaragua, Honduras, at that time was more or less nothing. And the Dominican Republic, they don't have too many options too. Maybe 6 factories that have the capacity to produce a brand like Davidoff. But I think the most important reason that they select my factory was the Davidoff Oettinger at that time is a company distribution cigar. It's not involved in production. And my company, Tabadom, is only production, no distribution. And that was a perfect marriage. And the people that have a high knowledge, a good brand, good image in the market. And my factory, Tabadom, was concentrate and control all, from the seed to the packaging. That was for me the most important reason that they select our company. Another reason maybe was the Davidoff opening a store in New York in '87, where they can sell Davidoff. Say Davidoff at that time is Cuba. And the three best brands for that store, the biggest sellers, and the more higher price. High price at that time is $3.50. We produced 3 cigars, Avo, Griffin, and Avo. And they made me think something happened. Maybe Henke made something right. And including my first contact with Dr. Schneider was Bernard Groway. Because at that time, Oettinger, Schneider, make a deal with Bernard to make the distribution of Griffin worldwide.
And you mentioned just the Cuban background and that they weren't allowed to sell them in America. What did Davidoff's Cuban background have as an effect on your business?
In that time, Cuba had the image of the best produced cigars in the world. You can see that in 2 different ways. One way is if they move to Dominican Republic, to another factory, it's because they believe they make a good cigar. Another way to say it's a real compromise to produce Davidoff. They have famous in the world. And one cigar totally different to Cuba. But unfortunately, Dr. Schneider, from the beginning, told me and say, I like that you produce a cigar complete different to the Cuban cigar. Complete different. I don't like when people compare. I don't like to produce a cigar like a Cuban. And including the advertising, the first advertising of Davidoff for the Dominican cigar was the smoker refined his taste. We refine our cigars. That means that we need to make a wrapper, light wrapper, the blend light to stone. And that we start that with the traditional line of Davidoff in Cuba. Davidoff number 1, Davidoff number 2, Ambassadrice, and Grand Cru 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The name that we put to the line that in Cuba was the Chateau. Chateaubriand, Chateau. and of course anniversary number 1, anniversary number 2. And we make a blend, send some sample in 1989. They like the cigars, and they invite me for a breakfast in New York. I suppose that we continue this discussion, but for my surprise, I received my first order, 125,000 cigars, only for USA. And 3 months later, I received an order for 3 million. You imagine
The scale.
the effort they need to make a company that produced 2.7 million to increase 3 million more, double of the production. And in addition to that, Dr. Schneider, if seen, was perfectionist. Always say, perfect construction, perfect, beautiful wrapper, and consistent. And we need to create new control system for ring gauge, for weight, because at that time we don't package the cigars here. We send in bulk and they pack it. I need to make sure the cigars, when they're arriving in Switzerland or in New York, was exactly to fix the box. The first production was in January 1990. And growing fast. And as you know, in 1993 come the boom of USA. The boom in the USA multiplied by 5 the market. When the boom was over, reduced by 3, 285 million. But that means multiplied almost by 3. And all my brands growing. Finally, I produced them. At the end of the boom, something like close to 18 million. I have market for more, but for maintain the quality, the construction, the blend, the stimulation, we not growing too fast than other factories. But was good because when the boom finished, we don't lose market.
And you mentioned the blend and the construction. To what extent are you involved in each part of the production of a cigar?
And the first production, but I come for the blend, complete. I make the blend. I have the experience of the blend because before I was involved in the cigar factory I make. But maybe you don't believe, or the people don't believe me, but I learned the effects of stimulation with cigarette. I have a master blender with 40 years experience, and he training me for different type of tobacco, different type of stimulation. And for that one time I forget that, but later in cigars I say, no. That knowledge, I made the application for the cigars. And my first cigar, my first inspiration of cigars, the Grand Cru, because the Grand Cru, the market know with the name of the Chateau. And I say, I make a blend inspired to the Chateau blend of Bordeaux. I make 3 different seeds with 3 different types of stimulation, according with the 3 different grapes they use their blend of Bordeaux. They say, okay, Cabernet Sauvignon, the stronger is Piloto. Merlot is San Vicente, more complicated. And Cabernet Franc, small proportion, all over. And create the blend of Bordeaux. And was a success.
Tell us a normal day in the life of Henke.
Okay, now, you know that I am older man, no? I have 73.12. I wake up early, normal at 5 o'clock in the morning, and take my first breakfast. Only fruit. Walking, not too much, 1.4 kilometers, and rest for 30 minutes. And then come the second breakfast. Some cheese, something like that, marmalade, and rest for another 30 minutes. And then, more or less at 6:30, I wake up everybody at home. No, everybody at home. Normally I come early, very early to the factory, before 8. And my first minute is to walking in the factory. Walking in the factory for 2 reasons. First, to say hello to the people. People that work for me for 30 years now. I like that they understand that I have that people in my heart. And talk about problems. They have problems in the family. I try to resolve. And take the first cigars. I look the production and check. I don't need to check, but I like to check and ask, what is this? They say, no. You are sure? No, this is no Yamasa wrapper, this is another wrapper. Checking. No, I'm okay, you are okay, this is Yamasa wrapper. That is a short time, because at 8 come the rest of the people to the office. No? They come to the office. My beautiful ladies, no, all the girls working behind me are beautiful. And say, they give me my first coffee. And that is the first coffee. And was new. What I received the email, check the email. Sometimes I need to work. And then I go to talk with the directors, managers, no? Only for no. Sometimes they ask me, I explain something. They don't understand. You know, with a company like that, the new people come to manage the company. I don't like to put too much pressure to the people. I like the advisor. If they come, explain me that. What do I idea with that? And I talk about it. Then walk again to the factory and take some cigars, special reject cigars, but some special reject. Reject, my favorite cigar reject is the reject by ring gauge. When the ring gauge is 0.2 millimeter more, it's reject.
Wow.
And that for me is a perfect cigar to smoke. And sometimes I say, no, the cigar, the perfect cigar, I prefer to sell. I smoke the cigar, the reject cigar. And for many years, because this year we will 50 years tobacco, 50 years tobacco, but only 42 in cigars, no? 42 in cigar, 50 years in tobacco. For my first 48 years, I take my lunch in the factory and take 5-10 minutes and come back to work. Now I decide to go to home. Go to home, take my lunch in home, rest 30 minutes, I come back. And that's very important it's very important because 30 minutes rest, you recover all your energy. And then is the opportunity for you think. You think about that. You see what happened. This is important. I forget that after my second rest, I wake up every people I go to take a shower, and shave. And this is a very important moment in my day. You know why? Because they shave is my only opportunity they have in the day to see me, and to ask me, what wrong you by Henke yesterday? What do you think about today? For me, it's a very important moment because when you rest, you think you have a problem, you think about, but it's not the same when you look when you look your face, and your eyes. I see my eyes. Tell me the truth. What do you think about that? And that's it's important moment. Take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but for me, it's very important. It's very important. Wow. I talked to lady say, will you make up? You had the opportunity to see you.
And what sort of challenges do you face on a daily basis? What would be the typical challenge that you have?
My most important challenge is when I leave to the company. All that I make for that company, all that I create for that company, continue. If you make something important in your life, and you don't create the condition for continue all that you make, you make nothing. You make nothing. It's all your effort for 50 years disappear. When I disappear or when I leave, I think you don't make nothing. You make nothing. For that reason, for me it is important the new people. I like to transmit my passion, but my concept. Always concentrate in create cigars like a friend. Loyalty, consistent, balance, and pleasure. Good. And in all my life, I create many things to maintain the consistency. For example, when I start in the Tabadom, the tradition, the normal way to the classification of the leaf in the plant have only 3 grades: volado, seco, and ligero. But that means the seco is maybe 60% of the plant. Imagine. That means maybe at least 8 leaves you put in the same grade. And you know that you talk about the leaf 5 and 6. You talk the leaf 11, 12. It's different. but you make the blend according with that classification. And when they know that some cigars they have a high proportion of second, especially something like Davidoff number 2, that that time was the best seller of David. And Dr. Schneider smoked every day the first cigar, that cigar. And they called me, Henke, my cigar today is stronger. What happened? What is the problem? First, I divide the second into different grades. The first, that fourth leaf is second. The next four leaf is visus, with different, to maintain the consistency. Later, I know, you know, that we harvest by leaf, by position. But sometimes they make some mistake, the worker, no? But they receive the tobacco in that grade, including that have a color, different color for different for different position. And that mistake, if you don't have another control, can come with some wrong level of strength. And then I decided to, after the fermentation, after the first 2 years aging, make a new sorting, only by texture, to reduce that mistake. And sometimes it's no mistake. It's question of land and weather. Suppose you have a land not perfect flat, and rain, and that in one area maintain more time the water. That means that that plant receiving the nutrient more dilution, and that leaf in the same position or the other plant close to them, it's different. And for that reason, I make another classification. And we improve anything in the country. That traditional of our country, they create the plant in the soil. That's a little bad. Why? Because many plants die, and you need to replant maybe 10%. You have 10% plant in different ages. Of course, when they harvest a leaf with 10 days less. 10 days less. And I decided to create greenhouse. And now, less than 1% of the plant died.
Wow.
That's the crop is uniform. You can see that. It's uniform. When I have the idea, I made the first 5 greenhouse. My people say, no, the farm is too traditional. I don't like that. They say, no, let me try. And say, you have 2 hectares, please plant 0.2 hectares of this plant. And you continue with it. The effect was to impress. The next year, I need to create 52 greenhouses because every farmer, they had tradition for hundreds of years, for their father and grandfather. When they look at the condition of the plant, they say, no, I like that. Because the people say, no, the farmers is a tradition, they don't like to change. They said, no, it's right, that's right. When they look the qualities, or that you improve something, they understand immediately. One another issue, well, the packaging, the traditional packaging, we changed one day for less damage to the cigar, or the tobacco. And the in charge to the crowd say, but we need to buy 4,000 of that, the traditional way, because maybe some farmers don't like the change the tradition. You know what happened? I keep my 4,000 traditional ready. I need to sell to others because people say, no, Chase. And that is a day by day, you need to think about what I can make better. I can make better. And when you improve, is benefits, profits to the farmers, profit to the farmers. And that immediately have interest on that. It's the same in the factory. When you know that something traditional, say no, make in a different way. The quality control, the traditional quality control with the ring gate, with the ring, it's not exactly transform for no. Faster, easier, and perfect. Maybe because I am industrial engineer.
Yeah, that background that has an influence on that thinking mind. And so tell us what.
But I don't finish my day.
Oh, you haven't finished your day. Carry on,
yes,
please.
because when I leave my home, frequently go to my lounge. I have a lounge. It's a more or less private lounge, very quiet. We talk with the people, smoke cigars, and learn, because you can learn for everybody. You can learn for the more modest farmers. You can learn something. You need to put attention to everybody. There are people that have a lot of knowledge, of course, better, but including you can learn from another factories, different of tobacco, something that they make to transport, to keeping the product. I can make that. And normal, I sleep 11 o'clock.
11. So 11 and up at 5 again, and the new day begins.
The cigars for me is maybe one of my best friends. Do you imagine a friend, loyalty, consistent, and always is ready to go with you in any occasion. When you need to have a problem, when you light the cigars, you create an ambient to think about the problem. That friend is behind you, silence, but increase the smoke. You lose the smoke, you think about the problem. No? I say, sometimes I say, that friend is the way for recuperate the tradition of the Indian. The Indian uses the tobacco, burn the leaf, it through the smoke, they talk with God. Say, for what? For they ask, please, peace for my people, productivity for my people. And I say, this is the personal smoke. For we talk with your friends, but why not we got? Say, I have a problem through the smoke. Give me some idea. I need something special. to resolve the problem. And sometimes I say, some friend of mine have a problem. How I can help my friend? How can I help my friend? It's a friend. It's a friend. Sometimes we don't have the time for give all the attention that they need. That they need. And it's a fault. I say the cigars is like woman. You need to take care, dedicate time for maintain the pleasure, this fire, the fire of the woman. I said that is a cigar. When you enjoy more the cigars, it's when you are quiet in the late hour, in the late hour, because you can put all the attention, dedication on the cigar. Because the cigar gives all the pleasure, all the flavor, but they have condition. They say, two conditions. First, put attention to me and maintain in good condition. For that reason, and when I talk about the 10 factors for control the quality of the smoke, the number 10 is the store, the condition of the cigar, because it's you have all under control, and finally the cigar is in no condition. The combustion is different. The smoke that you receive is different than the blend I create. And then I lose all my time for control the 9 factors. If finally the cigars, they don't give the pleasure that we create in the blend. Because the combustion, the construction, is the smoke that you receive.
Yeah.
And that's it. They have the capacity to stimulate all your mouth, nose, aroma. And that is important. Maintain your friend in good condition, always in good condition.
So,
and he responds.
Use a good humidor.
Good humidor.
Humidity control.
Take time, take care of them.
And you said you need to give the cigar all the attention. Do you prefer to enjoy your cigars on its own or with a drink?
In the office. We don't have only coffee. We don't have only coffee. But in the night in my lounge, depend on the cigars. I don't drink too much, but a good red wine or single malt. Single malt, because I like the pairing, and I like the pairing in the same position. In the same position. That is like a multiply the flavor.
Yeah.
Then multiply the flavor, increase the flavor.
It amplifies. It creates an accord and a harmony.
The harmony. The harmony. I like that harmony.
Take your time to think about this one. What is your fondest memory working in tobacco?
I have too many in 50 years, but
This is a tough question, I believe.
this is a difficult question. And I wish, cigar. Well, maybe I need to think more, but I remember one day the Eladio worked for me for many, many years. They received a special wine from Bordeaux, Chateau. And he make a blend and say, Jefe, boss, if you describe that blend, the bottle is for you. And then I smoked the cigar, and exactly the blend with percent. You had that 40% of this, 30%. He said, oh boss, I lose my bottle. I lose my bottle. I lose my bottle.
And I suppose to end this, the question would be, and it's going to be a tough one because a different friend for different occasions, but which is your favorite Davidoff cigar?
You know, I have 6 kids. And difficult you ask me why your favorite kid.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's difficult to say, but I will change time by time. Today, my favorite cigars is Yamasa. And number 2, Winston Churchill late hour.
We're big fans of the late hour bespoke unit.
Before, my favorite was Puro de Oro. Puro de Oro. But today, I smoke more Yamasa. And in the office, I smoke the small Yamasa. Because it's my friend. I don't have too much time to take care of my friend. I prefer a small cigar for feel better. I have a 20 minutes, 25 minutes to put attention to my friend. And at night you have more time. Maybe I like Robusto. Today, for me, bring game more than 54.
Too much?
I don't know. I don't like it more than 54. And 5 each, 5.5 each is enough for me. But you have some special occasion. I remember many years ago, the 31st of December, at 11 o'clock, I like anniversary number 1. Because I like to continue to smoke my cigar for the New Year's. And anniversary number 1 was a 2-hour smoke. And that was maybe the only rest I remember, the only time that I remember that I smoked anniversary number 1. Because I decide the same cigars in this year, I smoke the same cigar next year.
To usher in the new year.
Yeah.
And speaking of New Year's, we're both smoking the same cigar. Could you tell us a little bit about it before we finish?
You know, the industry was very conservative in the 80s and the 90s. But for reason of the boom time, remember, USA market multiplied by 3. That means 66% of the smokers new smoker. And they was not too conservative with the tradition. And they like to smoke different cigar. And many new factories offer new cigars. And you look including today, people come to the store and buy 4 different cigars. And I force the industry to make new cigars. Before millennium, we used only Connecticut wrapper for Davidoff. But we need to create a new blend or a new wrapper and create a new seed growing in Ecuador. And we discovered one area in the valley the only area that has different chemical composition on the soil. They have some iron and they give some special things. Create in 2001 the Millennium cigar. That was the first cigars in Davidoff, different to the traditional line, the first cigar. And USA is a very important market. It's the number one market for us, number one market for us. In worldwide, the USA is something like 62% of the market. For Dominican Republic, it's 85%, 84%. For our company, it's 72% because we include all the cigars, Avo, Griffin. But for Davidoff, it's only 35%. The 8.3 million of Davidoff, only 35% go to USA. When you talk about one country, it's the best market for Davidoff, number one. Number two, Germany. Number two, Germany. But we produce every day 35,000 of Davidoff. 35,000 of Davidoff. That means 8.3 billion per year, Davidoff. But we have many other brands. And we produce 40 million more cigars. The total production is 22.4 million of cigars. And 72% go to USA. And USA is a market that the people look for new experience. Many young people, many new smokers. And that forced the company to create new. And that after Millennium, Puro de Oro, later Nicaragua, Winston, Churchill, Escurio. Why? Because the market need new cigars, different cigars. But Millennium was a very good cigar, a big success. We're planning to produce the first year 400,000, and we need to make 1 million.
Wow.
For the first year.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we finish?
The only thing I like to say is that cigars is a friend. Take care of the cigars. And you need, it's your pleasure. It's your friend for every moment. Defend the tobacco business. Protect the tobacco business. Today, we need a different war, more friendly war, with more respect to our tradition, our hobby. This is part of our life. Cigars is special for everybody. Your friend know what cigar you smoke. Look the man. And that create like a marriage between you and your cigars. It's part of your personality.
Yeah.
The loyalty of one cigars, one of the reasons for the loyalty of one cigar is because all your friends know that. All your friends know that it's your friend. And you need to have proud with your friend. Why you smoke that cigar? Because I like it. Because it's my friend. I need a friend. I need a friend every day. I need a friend. He understands me better than many other people behind me.
Yes,
He understands.
true friend. Always there for you.
And you know the best? He not talk. He not talk. He have a language through the smoke.
Through the leaf, through the texture.
And you are calm. And you enjoy that. He don't interrupt you. When you think about something, you don't have to rush him. The cigars go to you, improve all the you think about them. They help you. They help you. That's the important. You need to be proud. You are a cigar smoker.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you can say you are a minority. These people, the country need that minority because it's a special minority. It's a special.
Thank you for that insight. And to all our friends watching, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, I'm here with Henke Kelner and his very generous time that he's given us. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. Don't forget to leave a comment if you have any questions. And subscribe for more videos like this, especially from this trip. Once again, Henke, thank you for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure and a true honor. And
come back.
Hopefully would love to come back.
This is
a pleasure.
You now you have a family.
More than a friend.
The Kelner is part of your family.
And wow, I'm honored to be part of it.
And you too.
Thank you, Henke.
Well, Charles-Philippe and I really hope you enjoyed that video. Please also check out the full-length documentary of how Davidoff makes cigars.
And down here, there's a full playlist of our whole Dominican experience.